Hi, my name is Srini Gudanti, and I'm the founder of Seventh Gear, a SaaS platform that is focused on driving company growth through employee growth. So we are focused on employee growth, which in turn drives company growth. So this recording is primarily to explain how Seventh Gear works, what sort of data we gather, and how do we safeguard it, and what our privacy policy is, and what our future roadmap items are. So if we can get going with this one, what I'll do is I'll start sharing my screen. So I'll take you first to the Seventh Gear website. So seventhgear.ai is our web ID or web address. And as I mentioned, we are a Gen AI powered employee growth platform. What we're trying to do is track every activity that the employee is doing and be able to nudge them towards a direction that is aligned with the company goals, towards the direction which will help them save time, avoiding low value meetings, and towards a direction where they'll be able to track all their meetings and action items coming out of the meetings. So if you scroll through the website, it's just our first homepage, and there's a way for you to sign up to our interest list so that you'll be notified when the full product is ready. So one is to be able to drive employee growth and make sure that their work, the daily work that they're focused on, is perfectly aligned with the company goals. The second big item here is enabling them to track their meetings attended and all the action items coming out of the meeting all in one place. Action items can be owned through meeting participants versus non-meeting participants as well. The platform has the ability to assign action items to anybody within the company. This platform also helps them save time by declining low-value meetings. And this is powered through the Gen AI models that we are building, and some are in place already, where through the recordings, we are able to detect whether there is value coming out of the meeting or not. And then over time, we will know which meetings and which participants are going to add value to the discussion, and then nudge the employee towards sort of an indicator which will tell them whether it is a meeting that's worth their time. So this is a future roadmap item. This is not there right now, but we are building it, as we said. So this company is 5 months old, and we've just gotten the basics going, and we are very much scratching the surface here. The other thing that this platform enables is seamless and personalized feedback, which is actually always on sort of a feedback, which is very contextual and personalized, very specific to where that feedback is arising from, what happened, and with notes on what could be done differently. So it's very actionable rather than very generic feedback. And of course, this platform has the ability to connect with all the systems that any company, typical company would use. Say, for example, the Zoom, the Google Meetings, the LinkedIn, Gmail, Salesforce, and so on, Slack, and so on. Our privacy policy here is listed here at the very bottom, and I'll cover this once I start going into the application. So this is our overall focus, and it highlights where we are going and how we are trying to drive company growth through employee growth. The way you log into this application is go into app.seventhgear.ai, and for a first user, if there is no calendar integrated, it will land on this screen, which is like integration screen, and where it will say add. So the only integration that we're showing up here for now, given the current state, is the Google Calendar. And so when you click on this add button, you can select the calendar that you want to be hooked up to the system. If you notice in the very top in the web link here, the HTML address here, there is a client ID generated. And this is unique to this integration. And it's sort of helps us keep the data secure and prevent any inadvertent access of the data. And so this token is like established with this connection that I'm going to be doing. So let us say I pick this ID. It obviously, this is, we're trying to get the Google certification here, and which is why this shows up. But if you click here, advanced, and say go to 7th gear, because I am the founder, I know what we're trying to do here, and it's totally safe. It'll say, yes, the first thing that you're going to be sharing if you join this platform is your name and email address and language preference and profile picture with 7th gear. And let us say you say continue. Then what we're wanting access to is it's a calendar information alone. It's a read-only access, and there's no write access. We won't be able to delete or like change any of your calendar items. And with this sign-in created, we will be obviously able to associate you with your personal name and email ID, and that's what we'll be able to pair up with. But the information that we're getting is primarily calendar data only and read-only access. And once you hit continue, and by the way, here we have a link to the privacy policy that we have for 7th gear. And so if you click there, it's also accessible from the main website at the very bottom right. Same thing is here, and you'll be able to see how we collect data, how we store it, and what ways are there to delete this data, and whether we share this with anybody or not. All the relevant pieces are listed in this privacy policy. And so if I go back to this sign up process, and once I click continue, then we are in, and so it has synced. It says here synced is just 0 minutes here before. I can click here sync now again. It should work. Calendar data is synced. This is the only piece that we have gotten. It's only a read-only data access. And if I go to home, I will be able to see in this case like defaults today. This is the email ID that I have connected, and it shows like how much time I spent in the meetings today. It's like 2 hours versus last day. So basically it pulls up calendar information, the meetings that I've attended along with participant info. If I go to the meetings, it will show the meeting title, the date, and the duration. And all the meetings that are there for today. And so that's what we have. The application, as I mentioned, we are focused on employee growth. What we try to do here is like for every meeting, if there is action items coming out of the meeting, you will be able to record those action items. And I can show you that. So for example, if you just click on the meeting here and you want to say that, hey, I want to be able to add an action item here. And so you can just click here, add, and you can say, test action item here, for example, and you can say the due date is say 29th, the person responsible in this case, let's say this is me, Gudanti, and not started and save. Now this acts as a reminder for me. It'll be tracked. This data will be stored within our application, within our own private the cloud servers here. This is not pushed back to the Google Calendar or anything like that. This is proprietary information that helps us provide value to our clients. And so action items is a core part. Now this will get tracked, and the owner or the person responsible can sort of delete and like edit this action item. But this will be tracked across all meetings, across all employees. So the company execs can be able to see action items and meetings coming out of their orgs. And so we'll be plumbing into the org HR systems within a company to who's our customer, and we'll be able to add that value. The other part here right now that is available is analytics around the data that we've gotten from the calendar. It's if we are able to categorize the meetings because of the title, we'll be able to do that. The time in meetings, so it's group meetings, individual meetings, focus time based on the calendar information. We'll be able to say which ones are external versus internal, again, be going off the email domain. If there is any email domain outside of NOVAT, which was the email ID that I signed up with, then it'll be categorized as an external meeting. So it's just looking at email IDs, names. but email IDs is how we are able to categorize as internal versus external meetings. Now, workflows is an item that is coming up in the future. This has nothing to do with the calendar data. It's basically plumbing into the organization or the client operating system to be able to see what tools they use and then bring it all together within the 7th gear. Notifications is a feature item again to be able to nudge the employees in terms of, as I mentioned, useful versus low value meetings to help them get prepared and everything. Integrations is the one that we just saw and came in. Right now, this is the only integration that we have, a read-only access. And so it's very basic bones right now. As I mentioned, like we're very early in the early stage. We're just like getting our foot here, bearings right, and signing up with a few beta customers here. One of them is a work in progress, and develop these features with the data and the client perspective as well. So I think I've covered a bit of what's there, what's coming up in the future. I've covered the privacy policy. I've mentioned how it's only read-only access that we have. And by the way, you can delete this data on your at your will. The moment you say delete, this will delete it from our servers, and no data is stored anywhere. It'll be off the record, and or like it's not going to be stored anywhere, and you can be safe with that. In that the data is not transmitted or like not stored permanently. So full control to the users of this application. Data secure through the client ID that I mentioned. It's a very Google specific OAuth token that we get, and it's very specific to this sort of a calendar or this calendar ID that we just created, and then each one gets its own client ID, and so we keep it separate, and there is no sharing of information that is happening. So that's pretty much it. What we're seeking here to the Google team here is permission to greenlight this, and then of course remove that unsafe application part. So thank you, and any questions, you can always reach out at support@7thgear.ai, and looking forward to your support and your help in getting this accomplished. Thanks.